Doesn't deserve a shot at Burns on this showing.
Absolutely not. I think it has been hyped up by Frank Warren's PR team, and you can see why it's an interesting fight. But on Appleby's last two performances, he certainly looked good, and the pedigree that he brought to the ring this evening, him against Burns wasn't such a ridiculous concept, but at the moment he's struggling a little bit. Only halfway through the fight, plenty of time for him to turn it around.
Well, I've only given him one round, you know. But as I say, I may be way off beam, but
I can't remember too many clean shots that Appleby's landed.
he had a great opening round, and maybe he took the second round as well. But since then, he's done very little.
He's been forced onto the back foot. Oh, good shot. His corner really like that.
Yeah, very animated.
He's got a good jab, hasn't he, Colin?
He has.
Just sensing here that he's got Appleby in a bit of trouble. There's some blood around Appleby's nose. The corner can sense it as well. They're urging him on.
He's in full retreat at the moment.
We had a rousing rendition of Flower of Scotland earlier this evening, and Appleby needs to invoke some warrior spirit because he's going backwards. Get the impression he might just be unravelling here.
Right, the problem is he hasn't got an answer to it.
He's not, and I think the crowd are beginning to sense it too. Blood dripping from his nose. Another jab lands clean. Better from Appleby, the first real combination he's thrown for a while. Good body shot from Appleby. Now he's been to the jab though.
But you see that a single shot like that, it was a good punch, but he doesn't follow it up.
He wants to hold on here, I think, Appleby. This has been a tough round for him. Showing flashes of inspiration, but Larrier's just taken it all and come back with plenty more himself. Good right hand. Appleby's face beginning to look a mess. It's Garnier has got the bit between his teeth, a steely look in his eyes.
Well, it's one-way traffic for me.
Can you start picking up? Keep your head still. Can you start picking up? Right. Put your head back, keep your head still. You play us up, son.
I wonder if the corner will allow this to go on, Colin. Not now. He's got a few more rounds left in him, but if we see another couple of rounds like that.
Yeah, well, for me, he's just dropping further and further behind, and he doesn't seem to have any answer to that raking long left jab.
You've got to go up 2 gears now. Come on. Come on, Paul. Come on.
Well, obviously, the corner realise it. Referee O'Connor's having a look at him as well. And you heard what Dean Powell said. You've got to go up, not 1 gear, he said. You've got to go up 2 gears this round.
The problem for him, Colin, he might have to go up 2 gears just to get level.
Well, he's not going to get level even if he wins this round.
No.
My scorecard, I've got him way behind.
But just to match Larrier, he's really going to have to find something special. And then to win the fight, something special again. He just cannot get a foothold. Time beginning to run out. He cannot afford another round like the 7th.
And the Ghanaian looks more and more confident. He's piercing him with that long trombone-like jab. And it's accurate too. And it must be sickening to be at the end of it, round after round.
He definitely looks better than his record suggested. I mean, you saw it, and you saw that he'd lost to Awuku. Back comes Appleby though. Larry's just backed up himself here. Maybe the spark of magic that Appleby needed.
Well, he's trying very hard to follow his corner's instructions.
Just thought for a minute Appleby had got that foothold. There comes a body shot from the Scotsman. Another one too. A little bit of a grimace there from Larrier. Back he comes himself. Doesn't look quite so composed this round, does he, the Ghanaian?
Well, because Appleby's got home with some good shots at last. But he's still backing him up. He's got such long arms, hasn't he?
Well, the problem is that jab, it just rocks back Appleby's head. Now the blood smeared across Appleby's face. Very underrated weapon, isn't it, Colin, the jab?
Well, not by the great fighters, Ian. They all say all the great fighters. Even Mike Tyson, who was a big puncher, had a great left jab. You soften them up with the left jab. You find your range with it. It's a sickening punch if it's accurate.
Well, there's been plenty of sickness for Appleby, but I don't know what's worse for him. He's landing these big shots and they don't seem to be getting through. And then Larrier just comes back with jabs like that.
And the first man to find the value of a jab, believe it or not, was way back in the 19th century. Mendoza was the first boxer to use the jab in the bare knuckle days.
There's more for the crowd to cheer about in this round. Appleby's probably his best for a while, but he's still not having it all his own way. Larrier still looks very calm and collected. Appleby just...
I think Appleby was more pleased with that for 3 minutes than he has been since the beginning of the fight.
Yeah,
he might just have nicked it.
Waved his fist as he went back to the corner as if to say, come on, you can do this.
He's got to go some to win this fight, though.
Have you got it, Colin?
Well, I've given him... he probably won the second, which I didn't give him. But I've only given him, say, 2 rounds and maybe 3, if you give him that second round. And I've given Larrier the rest.
Talking about Appleby being 4 or 5 rounds down then.
So I would think it's either 6-2 or 5-3. I think it's more like 6-2. But, as we've said it a million times before, it's not up to us. It's the judges round the ring that will decide this.
What a strong finish as well for Appleby. May get him back up there, make things very tight. Got home advantage as well. That shouldn't count. Sometimes it does, but...
He's showboating now, the Garnier, and he caught him with a very good right hand.
Backed Appleby into the ropes. Oh, now that jab again just rocks him and stiffens his legs and sends him backwards.
Well, obviously the Ghanaian is not a big puncher, that's for sure. But you see Appleby now he must have thrown 4 or 5 shots and the Ghanaian made him miss with everyone. He might look good from the back of the hall, but they didn't score.
Good body shot from Appleby though. He's been brave, Appleby. Been tenacious. He's also been outclassed for great swathes of this fight. Again, just made to miss that.
Yes, he's deceptively a very good boxer, this Ghanaian.
We did him a bit of a disservice, didn't we, Colin, when we...
Yeah, when we first saw him. Well, we don't know. Look, let's try and be fair to ourselves. I'd never heard of him before. before this fight was made.
I doubt Paul Appleby had heard of him either, but he certainly won't forget him. The crowd trying to lift their man, and he's responding. But so is Larrier. Appleby's short smeared in his own blood. Trickles from his left eye, from his nose as well.
One thing about the Garnier, he's a very fit lad because he's not stopped going forward. And when you're tired, you tend to be less aggressive.
Collins had to walk in far shorter circles than Appleby because he's controlled the middle of the ring. Appleby's been on the back foot almost since that second round. He had a good opening.
Got to hand it to Appleby. He's trying desperately hard to get back into this fight. But I think Larrier has got his measure.
Let's watch the two corners at work here. You're listening to Dean Powell in Appleby's corner.
He can't cope with you. He can't cope, son. So we want to get close to him, and we want to work him inside, and then we move off. We beat him to the jab. We beat him to the...
Almost 10 seconds. Seconds out, round 10.
I don't know whether this African has been 12 rounds before, has he?
Yeah, he has. With Awuku.
Oh, right. In a losing fight.
In a losing fight, yeah.
Mind you, he was a good fighter, that boy.
It wasn't bad.
Awuku.
Banged a bit. So at one point, as if he's going to beat Liam Walsh. He sort of went off the boil in the closing rounds. Oh, it's a very bad cut now around Appleby's left eye.
I wonder if that was a clash of heads there.
Oh, referee, I think.
O'Connor's had a good look.
Yeah, I think had it been the other way round, the fight might have been stopped. Kind of reluctantly, I would say, let Appleby carry on. Good body shot from Appleby. He senses he might have to pull something special out here. He's got Larrier backed up and in a bit of trouble, I think. He's on stiffening legs, the Ghanaian. Appleby throwing caution to the wind, badly cut. Needs to pull something out of here from somewhere as the blood streams down his face. Larrier buys himself some time with a double jab or right hand, right on the cut.
He's gone right back to where he was. That raking jab and following right cross. He weathered that storm for about 30 seconds, and Appleby looked like hurting him for the first time for several rounds. I'm afraid
I cannot see how.
His cut looks very bad from where we're sitting, and we're some distance away, of course, but it doesn't look good.
It doesn't look.
I suppose if he stopped with the cuts, that could be an excuse, but the evidence was that he'd been well beaten.
Another sickener of a jab there from Larrier, and Appleby, well, about a minute ago he looks as if he's getting back into the fight, but now he looks a real mess. He looks a beaten boxer, doesn't he?
He's looked beaten boxer for some rounds ago, Ian. It's just getting worse.
See Dean Powell in the corner just shaking his head. I think Appleby's going to hear the bell for the end of the 10th round, but I don't think he'll be allowed to start the 11th because the cut is so bad.
I say Dean Powell may well pull him out at the end of this round. And of course, we won't then know what the scorecards read.
We've got about 20 seconds left of this 10th round, excuse me. I cannot believe, Colin, if the cut had been the other way around, that the referee would have allowed the fight to carry on.
Well, that seems to suggest that they favour the home fighter. Then if they've got a bad cut, he should be stopped.
Well, Appleby fairly races back to his stall as Dean Powell goes to work on the cut. Eye swelling shut as well, that left eye.
Yeah, he's not looking good, is he? Now O'Connor's had another.
Yeah, he said there was a head clash.
Real good look. Head clash, was it, Ian? I haven't seen the replay.
Yeah, head clash. Here we go.
Well, that was on the shoulder.
It wasn't a punch.
Well, Powell's certainly not pulling him out.
They've got two problems there, haven't they, Colin? They've got this dreadful cut, which we can see there, running into the eye. But it's not as if he's, well, on our cards at least, winning the fight. So we thought Appleby maybe pulled out after that 10th round, but he's back for the 11th. The blood begins to seep from the cut around the left eye. They're probably going to take a stoppage for Appleby to win this fight.
Well, we would presume so.
We've got three ringside judges here. So WBO Intercontinental Super Featherweight titles on the line.
Larrier is showboating now, which the crowd don't like, of course. I must say I'm not very partial to it either.
Right, back to orthodox tactics here. I think Appleby might prefer a showboating, to be honest. Crowd try and lift him.
They will no doubt, if it goes against their man, they will no doubt boo the decision. Yes.
It was a push, wasn't it, Alec?
Yeah, but it was also he used his forearm, which the Garnier didn't like, and O'Connor didn't reprimand Appleby for it.
And Appleby dug in a body shot there. Larry just came back with a left hand.
I'm afraid every time Appleby lands a shot, Laryea lands two.
With a bit more power as well. Again, that cut opens up. Blood pours from it. We've got 30 seconds left of the 11th.
Again, how can you give Appleby this round?
No, you can't really. Maybe Larrier against Ricky Burns would be a decent fight. So I'm sure Appleby will come out for the 12th, all guns firing. A grandstand finish. He's going to need it. We've not seen any stats, have we, Colin? No scorecard or punch stats, but I'd be surprised if...
Well, I don't take much notice of stats about, how many punches they threw and how many they land. It's the quality of punches that counts, not the number, as far as I'm concerned.
There's some desperate last-minute work in the corner. As they work on that cut. Big cheer from the crowd. Both boxers bang gloves. Appleby in need of a stoppage here, I think, to win it. Can he produce it?
We've got foreign judges, haven't we?
We have. Appointed by the WBO. Oh, good shot that from Larrier. And
It's hurt. He hurt him there with that one. Although
I don't know if he's playing possum, Colin.
yeah, he's signalling Larrier to come forward.
And that's often a sign that boxers are hurt, isn't it?
As I say, as if he hasn't come forward enough. Larrier's going to work as he has done round after round behind the jab. There's great evasive defensive boxing then by Larrier.
He's been great, hasn't he, offensively and defensively. Good reflexes, slippery.
He doesn't look like a fighter.
No. Lovely jab as well. Appleby's not really had an answer, has he?
No, I'm afraid not. He had a great start, and then Larrier took complete control. But we aren't the ones who decide this fight. We've been wrong before. I can't see how they can give this fight to Appleby, whatever the score is.
Yeah, and Larrier just makes Appleby miss.
He's made him miss time and time again.
That's the jab, the sickener.
And that eye's bleeding profusely again. Or should I say not the eye, the cut.
On balance, Appleby probably should just have been allowed to carry on. It's certainly not got any worse, has it, the eye? A marginal decision by O'Connor. Probably the right one, but it's going to make no difference, I think, to the outcome of the fight here. And there goes the bell.
Appleby knows he's lost.
And Larrier knows he's won.
Scottish crowd, of course, with their usual warmth, booing Garnier, and goodness knows why.
Well, Appleby did eventually raise his hands, but
I think the only interesting thing now is how they scored it, whether they scored it close or whether they gave him what I did, a landslide win.
that'll be interesting. Looking at the faces of the two fighters, I think tells you everything you need to know. Appleby, that left eye nearly swollen closed by the end of the fight. He's just given the runaround, wasn't he?
I'm afraid so. Yep. As I say, for the opening couple of rounds, Appleby looked like he was going to be on his way to an easy victory. We underestimated this visitor. I must say there are some people in this crowd who appreciate Larrier and have given him a decent round of applause.
Yeah, a few hand claps in the midst of the boos.
But it's not wholehearted booing, is it?
No. I think the crowd will like the result.
Well, I mean, I think the crowd know the result. Appleby accepts it. He looks very hangdog, very miserable. He knows he's lost the fight. But also the only interesting thing for me is to see how the judges scored it.
Yeah, lonely place, the ring, when you've lost.
It is, particularly in front of your home fans. They're taking a long time working out the scores.
Yeah, I think they've got them now.
Should be an easy job.
Now we shall see. RMC has got the scorecard in his hand.
No, he's just waiting for signal from the TV producer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 12 rounds of boxing, we go to the scorecard. We have a split decision.
I don't believe this.
Judge Nyidi scores the contest 115-113 Appleby. Judge Monet scores the contest 112-116 Laryer. Judge Miller scores the contest 111-117. The winner in the red corner from Accra, Ghana, and the new WBO Intercontinental Super Featherweight Champion.
Well, the judge who gave that to the to Appleby ought to be struck off the judges list forever. I've never known such nonsense in all my life.
Well, the right man won. Larrier got the decision, 117.
Yeah, but I mean,
111,
this judge is judging championship contests.
It
and
does.
is totally incompetent.
It does leave you somewhat lost for words, doesn't it? But that result again, Larrier winning 117, 111.
That's more like it.
116, 112. And Appleby taking 115, 113. Even Appleby himself, to be fair to him. When that was read out, he shook his head and pointed at Larrier, didn't he? He knew that he'd been beaten.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Of course he knew.